Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the Morning, 15 minutes to change our lives. Hopefully, this is having the desired effect, and it's affecting our Tishrei, our Elul, which will affect our Tishrei, which will ultimately affect the upcoming year. Okay, so yesterday, beautiful idea that Rebbe brought out. And basically what we said yesterday in Ois Hey was that even a person on a level that's in the desert, which the desert associates the person that's in the klippa, meaning a person has no self-control over their lives, and their lives aren't going the direction they should be, for whatever reason. And not necessarily we're talking about, we're trying to connect with ourselves. We're not talking about a person, someone else, a type of person, and we're just talking about a theoretical person, but ourselves as parts of our lives that are like the desert. And it could be more than just a little bit. That's what happens. A person in the desert, the king goes and greets them. In the field, not that he goes to the desert, but he goes to them, meaning to their aspect of field, meaning the neshama of Yid. And Hashem connects. And ultimately, it's because it's our Ratzon. And we said that we reach the deepest of levels, that there's a level of Torah mitzvahs, which is like we said in terms of relationship, a husband and wife, the husband does things for his wife does things for her husband. Then there's a deeper level when there's a mistake, and the husband doesn't make a mistake, or the wife makes a mistake, and they do tshuva, and they ask for forgiveness, and that brings out a deeper level of the relationship, deeper than just the actions. But what we're saying, that what's revealed by the king in the field, and this want of the people and Hashem's want to reveal himself and to connect with us, the beauty of Mizrachim, reaching the source of Tainug. Tainug Atzmi, a built-in miracle. This deepest levels of pleasure, the source of pleasure, which is a wild idea. This is phenomenal. And he said, it's not that you did tshuva, it's not that you did Torah mitzvahs. It's the fact that you have the ratzing. Yeah. Beautiful. And what it affects, that affects the person that's in the desert, the person that has these issues, us that we have these issues of desert, it causes us to be inspired and aroused to have a tainug lakus. He says, "Kamayim panu apanim," like a water affects face to face. You see the reflection, and you see God showering love. It's like, water reflects face to face. It's like when you shower love to someone, that gets automatically showered back. And then and that causes that the tainug and gulliness, which we're talking about a person that was in the desert, and we have the aspects of our lives that we're in the desert, it transformed that pleasure is part of that level as well, that it's our tainug in elikus. And once that happens, that gives us the ability to do tshuva, to come back. And this is what a beautiful idea. Now, the obvious question, think for a moment, what's the ultimate question? And this is sort of the same question we've been having the whole time throughout the Maimon. Like I said, it keeps repeating itself. Obvious question is, but if this is what's happening, isn't this from above? Remember, the axiom of Elul is Ani Ledodi, and Tishrei is vedodi. But what we're saying is this revelation, and we said the king greets them all with a smile and countenance and happily, and causes that takes the person, kulam, even the person in the desert, to come and do tshuva when he realizes that this level, like we said before, if we meditate on these ideas, that will inspire us. But if that's inspiring us, then that's not Ani Ledodi, that's vedodi, that's Tishrei. But why are we saying this is in Elul? And this is what the Rebbe is going to ask, and the Rebbe is ultimately going to ask the deepest question, and the most fundamental question, that how does this all work? Because ultimately the king in the field is inspiring. When you know that the king is in the field, it's inspiring. This is what we're going to answer. We're going to answer the Mitzvah Hashem. Okay, Ois Vav, page 357 in this sefer, and Ois Vav in any sefer you have or in the notes. If you're on page 357. Okay, So we need to understand. Now move on from everything we just explained. It's understood that the revelation of Elul that was said Elul is coming. The king Makabos Kulam Sefer on Yafis. What is it showing us? That it's not just that the revelation of Elul is loy rak, it's not just it's koyach, which is the ability to do koyach, the ability to do, like we said, that's like someone telling you, we believe in you, you can do it. But the shkamech vasada yeshna harashus vayechelis l'chol echel akul that when the king is in the field, it's giving everyone the permission and the ability to greet the king. It's not just that's what it's doing, but it's doing even more than this. It's ela gamo eres adam. It's arousing the person. It's inspiring the person. It's making us feel, hey, let's go connect. You know, someone was telling me yesterday that they were listening to the shir and they're like, and it changed the whole day, inspired them. So this is sort of what we're saying is happening in Elul through the Malch Basada. But the whole axiom of Elul is that it's not inspiring, and it's coming from ourselves. Milamatza l'maylam. It's the verse of Dilasatam. So how does that work? Because what we're saying from what we said from yesterday, it's very inspiring. And the whole purpose of Elul is not that it's inspiring you. It's just in the sinas koyach. So da'al yedei sha'melech hakabos kulam b'tefim yafos u'afrat al yedei shemare panim sechei zechulam, because through the king receiving everyone happily, the smiling countenance, or pleasantly, and he shows to everyone a smiling countenance. What does that do? This is inspiring us to do tshuva. And the whole purpose of Elul is not inspiring. And nevertheless, the avodah of Elul is Ani Ledodi. The avodah of Elul is Ani Ledodi. I, to my beloved, is coming from ourselves. It has to be our own avodah. So how does this work? Avodah is Adam. So we can add to this, and this is sort of the biggest question, or you can sort of, in some sense, say the Chotz Kasha. Chotz Kasha is an idea it's like the obvious question. This idea of Elul, it's not just an sinas koyach, not just an opportunity provided for us, but it inspires us and arouses us and motivates the person. This is the whole idea of the king in the field. Because when the king is in the field, besides the fact that everyone can go greet the king, which is already something, just the knowledge that the king's in the field, in the same place we are. When you know that the king is next to you, is close by, it arouses us, inspires us, and our ratzah and our desire to greet the king. We want to go greet the king when the king is nearby. That's inspiring. It's not just in the sinas koyach, it's inspiring. He has in the funnels over here, he's bringing down from different places. You know, it's irrelevant. Who cares what garments the king's wearing the crown or not? It's the king. The king is nearby. The king is nearby. And he says even more, he brings it down, I think it's from maybe the Sichos. He's saying that when you realize that the king is foregoing his fancy robes and everything and he's leaving the palace to come greet you, meet you where you are, that's crazy inspiring. So this is back to the question: if all of Elul is, we see this aspect of vedodi lid, inspiration that is happening because the king's in the field, which is near where we are, that's inspiring us. So how are we saying that Elul is Ani Ledodi and it's not Ledodi Li, which is meant to be in Tishrei? The vedodi Li is happening in Elul as well. So what's going on over here? Is Elul inspiring or not inspiring? Or is Elul just an ability and a sinas koyach, or is it an inspiration? So the Rebbe says we can answer it like this: the want of the people, the ratzon, the desire of the people to greet the king. The reason why I want to greet the king is not because it's fun and inspiring, it's because it's essentially who we are. Because the king, because the fact that the king is the heart of all the people. So therefore his kashrus, the connection to the king, they're an essential being. Wanting to connect to the king is not wanting to connect to someone else outside of us. We want to connect to the essence of who we are. And nevertheless, but when there's the king in his palace and the people in the field, it can be that the connection to the king they have, that essentially do have, and therefore automatically when we're in the distance, that desire that we have can be concealed. Meaning essentially we always want to connect. We always want to connect with God and do the right things. But the problem is it could be that we're in that because of the distance, the physical distance in the case of this mushroom, or like the spiritual distance, so we lose it. The shefa who amashpia something shemashpia mitzamtzem atzmo lefi erech makabel. Yeah. Page. I knew it didn't make much sense. Yeah. Therefore, being that naturally, what we're saying is that essentially the ratza, the desire, the deepest desire that we all have to connect to is to be one with that king, because we're one and the same. But when the king is in a far off distant place, so therefore he's in the palace and we're in the field, so we're hold different places. So it's just distant. But when the king comes, it's something that inspires us, it's like something new, inspirational. It's just reconnecting that connection that we have. So therefore, when the king is in the field where we are, and the king, when we realize that the king is with us in Elul, that ratzin just gets revealed. Meaning the ratzin was always there. We're not getting being inspired, or there is still coming from above. The inspiration that the vedodi is more of like something additional. Whereas what we're saying is that I want to greet the king, which is it's not inspiration, it's not inspiration, it's not this because it's essentially who we are, and essentially our connection. And the only thing that happens when the king comes to the field, it's just revealing that. So too in the nimshal, so too within ourselves and our lives. This inspiration that we have in Elul to connect and to do tshuva, and we want to change, want to prepare ourselves for the high holidays. We want to do the effort put in. We want to really make it count. We want to do all the effort that we need to do. Is why is it coming back to because when the 13 attributes of mercy revealed, this mercy, this rachamim is revealed in Elul, what happens? It's just revealing the inner desire, which is a wild idea. Because last time we were saying that even though you're very distant, to realize that just the want to come close, even though if you're not successful. Well, we didn't talk about success. We're talking about the want. Just the want inspires, it connects with God on the deepest of levels, this deep ratzin. What we're saying is that even more than that, in today's class, we're saying even more than that, we essentially do want to, and we essentially are connected. We're not distant people wanting, but we're essentially connected. And the only thing that the Yud Gimel Zarachim are doing, it's misgale haras nefnim v'yisrael, revealing the deep wants. Yesterday was saying we have to realize we can put in the effort, and just wanting to is enough. But he was saying you essentially do want. We can move on. Like it's understood by the continuation of the Maimer. After the king in the field, what does this Maimer says? The shame kel hu reishis kol yumnis rachman. The name of kel is the beginning of the 13 attributes of mercy. It's the first Hashem kel rachman chanun. So Makernal calls and it's source and it encompasses all of it. The kel. I think maybe we'll stop here, and instead of going to this new point, we'll keep it here. Just to summarize, what we're saying is that the ultimate question really of the Maimer is that we've sort of been having this question on different levels. Is Elul in the sense koyach? Is it giving you the ability to do the right thing, or is it inspiring you to do the right thing? And we said, really, this question is on the king in the field. The whole point of trying to say the king is in the field is saying, no, it's not inspiration. It's in the sense koyach. It's giving you the ability. Because the king is in the field. You say, hey, Maybe I can put in some effort and I'll have some success and I'll change. But the Rebbe says, what do you mean? The king is in the field. You know the king is in the field. That's, of course, it's inspiring. The Rebbe says that the answer is you have to understand the relationship. When the king is inspiring and the king in the field, it's not inspiring something new. It's the same thing as in the Sinas Koyach. It's giving the ability because it's just helping you remind yourself of who you truly are. And when really you're only connected to the king. The problem is when the king's in the palace and you're in the field somewhere or in the desert, it's so distant so you forget about it. But when the king comes close, it reawakens like, hey, I want to be with the king. I want to get connected. And so too with Elul. Elul, the reason why Elul we feel different, especially if we learn some chassidus, and you start getting inspired, get a little excited. What's happening? It's not that it's God's inspiring you like on Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, because we see that it's very different, but we still feel something. So what are we feeling? Is that God is close, and that's reminding ourselves. It's really we're reawakening within ourselves this natural desire that we have to be connected to the King, natural desire we have to be connected to Hashem, and through that, it helps us have this ability to tshuva. And as we're going to continue explaining tomorrow, all the ramifications of that. So we should continue having an amazing Elul, thinking about these concepts throughout the day, and trying to analyze how we're seeing it within our lives and how to connect it and bring it out even more. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have an amazing day.